I'd like to call to order the Enfield Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Agency meeting for Tuesday, December 7th, 7 p.m. It's our regular meeting. Can we have a pledge of allegiance? Roll call, please.
Donna Corbin-Savinsky.
Here.
Virginia Higley here. Carrie Ann Howe, absent. Robert Hendrickson.
Here.
Kevin Zorda.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Next is public participation. Is there anybody who'd like to speak with items not on the agenda? Do you have anybody that want to speak with items not on the agenda? And one last time, anybody want to speak regarding items not on the agenda? Hearing none. Next is agent comments. To my left. Anybody have anything? No? Kevin?
None at this time.
Thanks. Next is correspondence. We had some notes from Georgie about how we're going to do a few things with our packets and that, which is, and then we had, that's it for correspondence. Next on the agenda, we need to go into an executive session regarding Enfield IWWA versus Joseph LaCory, 117 North Street. So we're going to leave here and go to the Thompsonville room, and we'll be back shortly. call back the Enfield Inland Wetlands Watercourse Agency meeting. We're back from our executive session. It was 7:28 when we ended our meeting. No decisions or votes or anything were taken during that meeting. So we're going to move on to approval of minutes from November 16th.
I move that we approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Donna Corbin-Savinsky.
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Robert Hendrickson.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Yes.
Yes, 4 in favor, motion passes. Next on the agenda is our town attorney report. It's dated December 1st from Mark Sotero, the assistant town attorney, and just brief descriptions on what's going on. Next on the agenda is our continued public hearing. We have IW 635, 117 North Street, restore the lost wetlands, field disturbed, and to allow for the development of a contractor storage yard for materials, trucks, and an agricultural cropland. Wellesley Wentworth, applicant representative, Joseph LaCory, applicant owner, map 93, lot 15, I-1 zone. So you want to reopen our public hearing? Hi, could you state your name and address for the record?
Just to use this.
Yes, please.
I'm attorney John Clifford. My address is 214 Main Street in Hartford, Connecticut.
Wes Wentworth, Wentworth Civil Engineers and Professional Engineers, Soil Scientists, 177 West Town Street, Lebanon, Connecticut, here on behalf of the applicant. We had left off at the last public hearing in November where we had gone to a site walk for everyone to view the property on the commission. And because of the format of the public hearing, questions weren't asked at that time. So it was just, everybody kind of looked. So it didn't leave us with a lot to respond to, but we'd certainly take any questions or comments the commission has at this time.
Does anybody have any questions for them, or? Kevin?
I don't have any additional questions at this time.
Yeah. Staff, do you have anything? No? Okay. Pardon? Yeah, so is there, I guess nobody has any questions then from that meeting?
Okay. As far as one thing I saw out there, and I saw mentioned in a staff follow-up report from that meeting regarding silt fence being at a point where it's maximized, needs to be updated. I completely agree. I would make a recommendation. I've been using. I just want to throw out to the commission. Had very good luck with using wood chip berms in place of silt fence or staked hay bales. It allows someone to go in and just dump a berm 18 inches high with a bucket, and it works very well because as it decomposes, it actually gets stronger and it's easy to maintain. Just dump some more wood chips on top. I would propose putting that in front of any of the silt fence that's there now. Silt fence, we find, as you can see, the staples rip and it breaks down. Hay bales will actually start to decompose and lose their structural integrity as well. Where a wood chip berm kind of turns to a soil berm, starts at 18 inches, but it goes down to 12 inches over time. And again, you can just dump some more on top. So I've had very good luck with using that, and I would just recommend putting that, inside, not farther into the wetlands, but upslope everywhere. I would recommend the applicant did that. So it goes very quick and it works very well. So that's all I have to add at this point.
Haven't heard of that.
No.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. Okay. Does anybody else have any more comments, or? Guess not.
No, if I could point out, John Clifford here. I was looking at the the site inspection report, and it referenced several matters, including a pile of brick hay and tree stumps, recent tire tracks, wildlife footprints. Silt fencing needs replacement, and we agree with that. Sprouting and seed mix under spread hay. Silt fencing has failed by other side of pond. Little remains of brick seen in dirt. Fresh excavation, multiple areas on site, and silt fencing has to be replaced. So the silt fencing seems to be a big item. It's mentioned 3 times.
Yeah.
We get that. Mr. Wentworth is suggesting the wood chips, which may make some sense here. With respect to some of the other items, I mean, as you may recall, I referred to a stipulation with the town pursuant to some pending litigation which is currently stayed, but that did permit the removal of various debris, rubble, and other materials, including stumps. And these are not, fresh stumps. These are stumps that were buried in the ground probably many, many years ago, but Mr. LaQuarrie did pull those out sometime in terms of cleaning the area out, and he was given permission to remove those, many of which have been removed. I'd also like to point out that when it comes to uses within the wetlands area, certain types of operations are given far more leeway than others. And if we look at 4.1 of the Enfield Wetland Regulations, specifically Section 4, permitted uses as of right and non-regulated uses, it does describe, and it mirrors the statute, Connecticut General Statute 22A-40, which permits, as a matter of right, certain operations which include grazing, farming, nurseries, harvesting of crops, and farm ponds of 3 acres or less, essential to the farming operation. It also states that this subdivision shall not be construed to include certain other activities, including road construction, that is not directly related to the farming operation, relocation of water courses with continual flow, and filling or reclamation of wetlands or water courses with continual flow, nor would it apply to clear cutting of timber except for the expansion of agricultural cropland. So there has been some cutting of timber. I want the commission to know that, and they may have noticed some of that. I don't think stumping has occurred at this point, but any clearing of land has been, again, consistent with our plan to extend the agricultural use of the property. The farmer who actually leases the property, Mr. Pollock, is here tonight, and he's happy to say a few words as well. But that's kind of where we are. We are at a point where we'd like to restore those areas of the wetlands that have been disturbed, and some have been. I noted in the staff notes, reference was made to the lots as consisting of, I think it was 28 acres or something. It's actually 42 acres, and that may have just been a typo, but it is 42 acres. And that 42 acres is between the 2 lots, the contiguous lots, that for our purposes are considered all the same with respect to this application. So of that 42 acres, approximately a half acre of wetlands has been disturbed, and we are seeking that permit to restore that. And we're also still seeking the permit which would allow Mr. LaQuarrie to have a construction storage yard for the storage of his vehicles and the storage of materials. So that's where we are at this stage. If there are any other questions, I'd be happy to address those. And this is not to say that, if there is non-permissible work done in the wetlands areas, as there was disturbance here, that need not be addressed, clearly that needs to be addressed, and that's why we have this commission to deal with these types of issues.
Yeah, the part about the storage of the vehicles and the construction, that's not wetlands.
I'm sorry?
Planning and
It's
zoning.
planning and zoning, yeah. That
Do a
part,
construction yard, you would need to go to planning and zoning.
right?
Now
Yes, correct.
Yeah, okay.
Correct.
So we can't, like,
I understand you can't
Okay.
deal with that, I understand.
just so, yeah.
I was going to bring up the same.
You got enough to deal with, I think. Sure. What was that?
Nope.
You good?
Okay, that's good. Anybody have any comments for him, or?
Not at this time.
Okay. Thank you, then I guess we'll see if there's anybody, we have one person from the audience that wanted to
I
speak.
saw one person sign up, so.
Yeah, and Mr. Mark Pollock, 72 Georgewood Road, Summers.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Could you give your name and address for the record, please?
Name is Mark Pollock. This isn't on.
Just have a seat and use that
The
microphone.
one on the
Oh,
seat.
okay.
It's easier.
Name is Mark Pollock. I'm at 72 Georgewood Road in Summers.
Welcome.
Yes, and I lease Mr. LaCourie's land. And I just wanted to say that he's a very good landlord. He's made the pond more accessible to me so I can irrigate my crops. He has brought in leaf mulch so I can spread it out on the land, gives it more organic matter. He's roofed the sheds. He's just, he does what he says he's going to do. And for the record, there was somebody that talked here last time insinuating that I wasn't for this project, and they were wrong. I am for it. Okay?
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else from the audience that would like to speak that didn't sign up? Anybody else want to speak that hasn't signed up yet? No, one last time. Anybody else want to speak? Okay, thank you. Sorry, did the applicants want to address anything more? No? Okay. Staff, or you have anything, or you want to address?
No, nothing.
No. To my left? Kevin? You want to-
So the only, I think, one concern I have about going, I have seen the mulch berms done. A couple concerns I have is, first of all, where the mulch would come from and what it might have in it, because a lot of the stuff he has on site has mixed things in it. So I'd be a little concerned about where that mulch came from. And the other concern I have, and our attorney's not here, but the joint stipulation, I think, actually specifically states to repair the, with the silt fence and hay bales. So I think it would need to be recreate a new joint stipulation in order to change that, if I'm correct.
Maybe.
I think it
Yes.
did,
Yes,
or there would have to be a new agreement on
New
that.
addendum or something.
that is correct.
So I think that would need to be corrected, that needs to be corrected pretty quickly.
Okay.
I had, let me see this other one.
So-
Also, I just wanted to mention that, so these site plans are not updated. So my understanding is they're from 2019?
That's not correct.
Okay.
There's a reference to a boundary survey that was done in 2019 under map references. I think maybe that's where the confusion came from. These maps are updated through September 28th, and additional field work has been happening continuously out here up until that point. So I would say that these, let's say the field work happened 3 or 4 weeks before that date, I would say probably up to about September 1st. These maps are are accurate. That's what I discussed with Steve Ashelman of Ashelman Land Surveying, who's doing the land surveying for us out there. He made a few trips out there up and through this summer, but not since, I would say, around September 1st.
So the site plan that we received is dated January 14th, 2021.
With a revision date of September 28th, 21. So.
So we don't have the latest?
I'm sorry, but the revision date is not on these site plans.
Well,
Yeah, I have mine, it's on mine. Revision date 9/28/21.
Yeah, right here it says. It's a small print right there. Yeah.
So that reflects the disturbed area correctly?
up and through till September 1st, I would say, you know. I can't say beyond that. Between then and now, it's, 3-4 months later, I don't know.
Well, the confusion is, we're going to base our judgment on what we have in front of us, and if it's been disturbed more, or even if it's been
Yeah.
less, we won't know unless we
Well,
have
I
it corrected
can say
one.
based on our site walk when we were out there in November, that the wetlands areas did not look further disturbed to me since when I even flagged those. The only thing that had happened was some of the stump piles were removed, and that was part of the stipulation from the court. As far as within the 100-foot upland area from the wetlands, where we're showing piles and areas of disturbance, I wouldn't say that area has changed. Have the piles moved around or something happened? I don't know. But I think it's reasonable that the limits of disturbance within this eastern or northern boundary, rather, of the wetlands through here, that all looked reasonable based on my plans. I did see some fresh cutting along the south area. There was no stumping there, but you could see fresh stumps. So that's, but that was just cutting of trees, no disturbance of soil. So there's some clearing going on there. What piles are where or what, I don't know. But, areas where, say where I've hatched that, this area's been disturbed, this area is proposed to be agricultural field, I feel that that's accurate.
So you would say
within any areas of 100-foot upland
In your
review.
professional opinion, that's reflective for the most part of what's there
Yes,
now?
in other words, what we're showing as disturbed areas hasn't changed.
It's still disturbed.
Thank you.
And there's no new disturbed. that you-
In
that
my
you-
opinion, no, I didn't see anything glaring out at me.
Rick? Oh, okay. You looked like you wanted to say something. Yeah. Okay, do we have any more then? No. So today, we have to either close the public hearing or go for a continuance because of the timing and the number of days you have and everything with the applications. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I would move that we close the public hearing and continue the application until the next meeting.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? No. Okay, did we want to add those couple things about the silt fence?
Well, but we're not making a decision.
Yeah, we're not making a
so, yeah.
decision, so we're going to move forward,
Yeah.
correct? Okay. So can I have a roll call to close the public hearing and continue on with the application?
Did you have a second?
Yes, we did.
I did.
Yeah, Jenny.
Donna Corbin Savinsky?
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Robert Hendrickson?
Yes.
Kevin Zorda?
Yes.
Okay, 4 in favor, motion passes, so we're closing the hearing and we'll move forward with the application.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much for your time. I did just want to mention that under staff.
Well, you could just, He could just say, he could, yeah, go
I'm
ahead,
not
go
talking
ahead.
about- this is just-
No, just go ahead.
Entirely different subject. I said I would report back to you about across the street.
Oh, yeah, that was later on in the agenda,
Yeah,
but
do you want me
could,
to stick around for that? I can do that. So.
yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I just
Thank
want to
you.
make sure that was on. I didn't want to.
Yeah, no, that's not
Stick
here.
around for
We want you
nothing.
to- Yeah, okay, thanks. Or we could make a motion to move that
Yeah,
forward.
I'll make a motion that we move
Was
that.
enforcement report, number 13.
Number 13, enforcement report. We'll move that to number
10.
10.
10.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Go ahead.
So now we'll talk about your, to move that up there.
Again, for the record, Wes Wentworth, here on behalf of Joe LaFori. On the night of our November site walk, I went out to across the street on land owned by the applicant on the south side of North Street that abuts the railroad bed, based on a staff report that was given a few days before at the last 2 meetings ago here. I had stated that I had flagged the wetlands there a number of years ago on that site before any disturbance had happened. And when I went out there, trees had been cut up to the wetlands. My flags were still in place. I did not see any trees cut in the wetlands. Every tree and branch had been chipped and left in a pile of wood chips, and that was it. There was no disturbance to the ground. There was no rutting or erosion or disturbance other than just the tree equipment that was in there. So that's the state it's in. It's very stable because, and again, that's what I saw in early November. So in my opinion, there was no risk to any disturbance to the or siltation or damage to the wetlands. It was just cleared up, not entirely, but in some places within 10 or 15 feet of the wetlands even.
That'll be fine as long as there's no further activity over there unless they get a permit for any more cutting.
Thank you. I said I'd inspect and report back. So
Oh, you
Appreciate
did.
it. Thank you.
Thank you for doing that. Yeah. Okay.
thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so next on the agenda is the new public hearings, which we have none. Old business is IW 636, 59 Cottage Grove. Cottage Grove, are the applicants here? So we did table this at the last meeting, so we need a motion to remove from the table.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. So next is IW 636, 59 Cottage Grove, application for a wetland permit to replace the seawall. David, I'm going to get your name wrong. Vies, owner applicant, map 80, lot 180, R33 zone. Hi,
Hi, how are you all today?
good, thanks. How are you?
Doing well, thank you for asking.
Okay. So. I think we had a little update on this, or?
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything? That's okay.
All right. So you should have received some new information in your packets, such as pictures from a site visit. John Cabibbo from engineering and I went out to his property, and we saw the collapsing seawall. So I'm just going to go over my staff report
Yeah,
real quick.
perfect.
Easier to remember. On November 30th, David Vies came into the planning office, and he did drop off a new site plan with a scale and legend, as well as a revised narrative. It was recommended that his narrative should include more detail, as it seems to be lacking in what his exact plan was for the wall. On that same day, John Cabibbo and I went out to the premises and took some pictures of the current wall to better understand the site plan. While on site, it was made clear from Mr. Vies that a major reason of the deterioration was partly due to a town pipe draining excess water into the lake, and then another unknown pipe angled directly towards Mr. Vies' property. We're still trying to hear back from Water Pollution Control about that pipe and who it belongs to, town or the neighbor. It was also made clear to staff that Mr. Vies' original plan was to take out the old wall but relocate the new wall 4 feet closer to the lakefront, extending his backyard by 4 feet, in which case Mr. Kabibbo made it clear that he was not allowed to do so due to the FEMA flood zone. Therefore, the new wall would have to be in the exact place as the current wall. Mr. Vish also mentioned that he will most likely start this process sometime next year. It should be recommended that he should still obtain professionally done plans, especially considering the significance of this project with the lake and the flood zone. Staff had looked for previously done wall replacement projects along the lake districts and found none on file so far. Site-specific conditions are recommended, such as proper erosion controls during construction of the new wall to ensure sediment contamination into the lake will be contained, and the new wall will be in the exact location of the original wall, and a photo showing the current measurement of the old wall to the house to ensure proper location for the new wall. Please see pictures attached to the report, which I sent to you. Engineering did comment on the online application. He said, based on the November 30th site visit with the applicant and assistant town planner, along with the applicant's description of proposed work, it is recommended that the standard required surveyed site plan be submitted and done by licensed professionals. This proposed work is within the FEMA flood zone, and accurate records should be provided to ensure there is no filling within the FEMA-defined flood zone. The applicant was made aware during the site visit that no filling should occur on site. And those were all the new comments I received.
So, you can't move your wall. That's too bad.
And that's beyond us. That's
Yeah.
FEMA. So
Yeah.
that we have no say in that at all. That's kind of a federal
Thing.
mandate, which makes it obviously a much more complex process and certainly more expensive. There's no way around that, because obviously you have to remove the old wall, and that's certainly not an easy project. And
That's unfortunate.
It's something I feel confident I could do.
yeah,
Not a problem. I have
That's good.
equipment. I have excavators, bobcats, stuff like that to move.
Oh, good.
Break it into pieces, take
Okay.
it out,
Put in the new
put the
stuff.
wall back in the
oh,
same
good.
spot.
Okay,
Perfect.
Same idea with the concrete pin in it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
good.
So the only thing you're going to need to get, though, because of this being in FEMA, is you're going to have to get it, and I mentioned this at the last meeting, that you're going to need to get an engineered plan. So you're going to have to hire an engineer to do a plan.
But that was we didn't have to do that for residential. That's for commercial.
No.
No, I mentioned it multiple times. That
Yeah.
depends on the scope of the project.
Yeah.
And that usually depends on like small sheds or
Yeah.
pools, but projects that involve FEMA flood zones or bordering lakes usually require professionally done plans.
Because they want a record of exactly where the wall's going, where the existing wall is, measurements exactly from the house, and heights and all of that.
Yes.
The topography, all of that has to be done. So it's certainly, you did a great job, with your plan here and how you're going to build it, but I think because of the scope of having to replace the wall rather than just put something in front of it, it's kind of stepped up to a level that you need a professionally done plan.
I think I should be exempt from having to do that. I don't know if anybody else wants to second that or not. I mean, as we discussed before, we have plenty of walls that went up in my lake, and nobody out there has pulled a permit. So it feels like I'm being all the fingers pointed on me, have to do it like this, do it like that, when everybody else is doing their walls all on their own leisure. We're
Yeah,
supposed to have a private community, and it's not a private community, right?
Right. Yeah,
We don't
and-
own the lake, and we
yeah.
don't own the road, so what do we own? It's not a private community. There's no gated community, no. It's not private,
Mm-hmm.
no. We're not screening people to come into our community. Well, we don't like you, we don't like you. That's private. We can't have this kind, can't have that kind, whatever. That's private. This isn't a private community.
David,
so
can you just speak into the microphone, please, for the recording?
I understand,
Use the microphone.
yes.
Yeah, I don't know what impact that has, but it's, and I've not had anything come before me in terms of a seawall
Yeah, so I don't know.
in that. So, if other people have done it on the lake, they've done it in violation, and they are at risk of significant violations and heavy fines, not only from us, but that can go up to
It could go up to FEMA.
So that can be big money.
And I did reach out to the Lake Association, and I have not heard anything back yet regarding any types of projects being done on the residential properties involving the Lake District, such as small residential projects like decks, patios, pools, and even seawall replacements and repairs.
Yeah.
The pipe that comes out, that the unknown pipe is, there's pictures in there, it's greenish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's angled right towards my dock that used to be there. It eroded my wall and it took down my dock.
Yeah.
So I had to remove the dock because it, like I explained last time, it
Yep.
fell in with my family and I. And I had to remove the dock.
Yep.
I had a 10 by 20 dock out there.
Yeah.
And I had to remove that because it's for safety. Like, I tried to
Yep.
keep it on barrels,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
55-gallon plastics, so to float it on like everybody else does. But it's, what's the point at this
So-
point?
so
Well,
That
my
part-
understanding is that
You're looking
engineering
into
is
it.
still looking
Yeah,
into
so
that.
you can
correct?
see the town pipe, which
Yeah.
is in the pictures. It's underneath the neighbor's boat. It's kind of hidden. It's
Yeah.
very, very small,
Yeah.
much smaller than the green pipe. When engineering and I went out, we can kind of tell that it's not a town-owned pipe, and it seems to be the neighbor's pipe.
And it looks
However,
newer.
It does look much.
Yeah.
We did note that
yeah.
too. That it looks fairly new and twice the size and diameter. And engineering replied that they're going to talk to water pollution control to just try and determine whose pipe it is, as the neighbor has denied that it is their pipe.
Can they follow it?
We're going to
Well,
figure it
my
out.
review on this here is, that pipe has been tampered from the neighbor. The neighbor did move that pipe some years back and angled it towards that way.
Yeah.
So
Because-
there's no erosion control in place for that pipe because as you see the older pipe, it ran through the wall first with the water
Right.
and eroded the wall. And the other pipe sticks past the wall.
Right.
And that's actually making, the sinkhole's roughly about 5 feet, 6,
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 feet deep.
Right.
Reference. And it's a large table, as you can see.
Yeah.
That's a deep hole.
Yeah, and
That
that,
needs to be.
it needs to be fixed, so if it is.
Before I do my wall, right.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
why
yeah,
I'm trying
yeah.
to
Right,
Bring all my issues to play. Why my wall fell down is because of this pipe. Why my dock's gone is because of this pipe.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even have to play with my wall. My wall was all concrete. It was perfect. Everything was good. And then it just erosion.
Right.
Yeah.
Crack and fall, and there it goes.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like I said, I believe I should be exempt from having to do all this excessive engineering. That's a lot of money that's not needed to go out at this current time. I feel as if I'm fit enough to be able to take my own measurements, maybe ask one of, individual from the town to come out and help me take pictures of the measurements so we're honest and be able to go that route.
Unfortunately, once you use the word FEMA,
yeah,
we pretty much are limited in what we can exempt, what we can allow, what we cannot allow, and it's supposed to be done. So we have very little say in. Wetlands is regulated by the state, and they're the ones that mandate what we can and cannot do. And as you said, there's many walls out there, but, unless you want to make a list and we'll go check them out for you, we
You
can't.
have to go for a boat
I do
ride.
recommend that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I'm not being flippant. I'm just saying that we had no control over what they did because nobody told us. We have an enforcement officer, and he would have done something had he known about them.
Right.
So unfortunately, you chose to do it correctly, and you're getting,
Burnt.
Yep.
but it has to be done.
Yeah. And you're going to work on getting that pipe
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear back from Dan Parisi and John Cabibbo about it.
removed or fixed, or so it doesn't wreck his stuff.
Well, that pipe also runs from storm drain, so we have oil, any contaminants from the road, the pavement itself has oil within it.
the town pipe you're talking about.
Whatever pipe that is that runs and leaches into the lake.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be a clean lake.
Yeah,
It's not-
yeah.
Yep.
You know? So we have contaminants going to our lake. It's not, there's no resolution for a separator of any some sort.
Yeah. Yes, that will have to be.
And that town stormwater pipe is also, it would be within your portion of the wall?
Negative.
No,
It has
okay.
nothing to do with me.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So should we continue it until he gets the engineered drawing?
Yeah, we'll have to.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there's any way we can kind of exempt, there's no way we can exempt you from having engineered plans.
I do have these two things here in front of me, which is our newsletter.
Yeah.
For any phone numbers or anything from the Shaker Pines.
Uh-huh.
If need be, and also right from John himself, from his map for where the pipe's supposed to be, and then towards the back side of their house.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be extended all the way into the lake.
Right.
It's supposed to be running, leaching, it looks like about, X amount of feet
Mm-hmm.
past the edge of their house. It's basically lined right up. You want to check a look? Pass it around? or-
Yeah, we can take a
Yeah,
look
sure,
at that.
yeah.
Right.
You might want to give the phone numbers to,
Yeah, I'm sure they have them.
Yeah, yeah.
As you can see, this side here is the lake.
Yeah.
Here's the back side of their house, and it's right about even with their house.
Yeah.
As everybody
Yeah.
can see, I'll
Yeah.
just slide it along
Yeah,
here. The back side of their house, the lake, property line. And it has nothing to do with me, but somebody extended it and then angled it.
Yeah,
And I'll go down this.
Yeah, so we'll have to address that.
I only have one of these right
yeah, is that the town pipe, or is that the?
We'll continue to work with staff and engineering to
Yeah.
determine where the pipe comes from. We'll try to determine what type of storm drain the pipe is leading to. There may be something there that
thank you.
It's not shown on the
not
map.
showing up, so we'll have to contact engineering and speak more with engineering
Right.
to determine
Yeah.
the status of the pipe.
Absolutely. So there's kind of two issues that they have to deal with. The town pipe, they're going to kind of check into that portion. But I think in terms of us, the other drainage pipe from the neighbor, that has to be investigated, because that, I
Yeah.
totally agree that you want that taken care of before you do anything
Yeah.
on yours, so,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. So what are the options? Because we can't really, well, we can continue up to, what, 65 days?
Yes, you have time to continue it up. The last day to make a decision is January 4th, 2022.
Okay. So I know you were kind of planning next year to do this, so you do have some time, but, so I propose that we continue it,
The next one.
so we can see how far, unfortunately, the town is busy and staffing is a little tough right now. So, it does take time for them to investigate those things, and, but they always do. I think they always do a really good job in
So are
terms
you
of.
making a motion?
I will make a motion to continue this application.
Second.
Were you going to continue to the next meeting, or you want to?
Excuse me, are you making part of that also, that he actually supplies engineered plans as part of it?
Yeah, I think you're gonna need engineered plans.
You have until January 6th, you said?
4th.
January 4th.
So next meeting's the 21st, and then January 4th. January 4th? Yeah.
The next regular meeting is the 21st. That's if you wanted to keep
Yeah.
that meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll continue it to January 4th? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yes.
When's the next meeting?
2 weeks, the 21st?
December 21st?
Yeah.
But they won't have.
You probably won't have.
You won't have any, yeah.
That's in 2 weeks.
I'm not
I
sure.
don't know if I can get an engineer out
Yeah,
that quick.
Yeah,
So how about
right.
January 4th?
Is there a meeting then?
Yes.
So January 4th would be the day that you would have to make a decision.
Right, right.
Right,
Okay.
unless he gives us an
And-
extension.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll go to January 4th.
Yes. And then he has,
Extension?
You have to grant us an extension, so you can do that. Otherwise, we have to make a decision based on what we have on the 4th.
Yeah, so January 4th, if we're not ready, you could say I want an extension, just have to put it in writing.
Yep, and then, so say you have up to the total amount of time for an extension is 65 days. So say on January 4th, you're not ready, you can request an extension to the next meeting. Say you're not ready for the next meeting, you can request an extension, so forth, up to 65 days.
After the 4th.
Yep, if you need the time. And then, can I see that newsletter that you got from the Shaker Pines Association?
Okay.
Cool.
And I just want to make it clear, we want to work with you. We want you to repair this wall. It's certainly unsafe, and it has to be done properly, because we don't want somebody to come back and say you have to redo the wall because it's done incorrectly, have FEMA come to you and, have to change it. So that's why we're going through this, and we're,
I've built several seawalls, so everybody should know. I've up in Lake Congamon, Massachusetts, and over
Okay.
on Connecticut side, because there's
Yeah.
2 ponds, north and south. So I have done this several different times, helping people out and doing it, and
sure.
so that hasn't been an issue to know how to do it,
Yep.
it correct.
So I'm confident you can
Yeah.
build it. That, I don't have a question about that at all.
I'm just trying not to,
Yeah.
I'm just trying not to have to spend all this excessive money when, I just figure, hey, I could just fix it, make it
Yeah.
nice again and everything's good, and I don't know how much engineer's gonna cost, but hey,
Maybe they can just approve it for you, you know?
what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, just stamp it for you.
Yeah, that'd be good,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
So I'll see you January 4th.
January 4th,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Thank
have a
you.
nice holiday.
Yes, you also.
David,
Yes.
thank you.
Absolutely.
So save your applications. for
Well,
next-
yeah, well, so question for staff. Did you see that letter? Does it in fact say something to that effect of?
No, it's just a normal newsletter,
Okay.
like tax stuff. Did you
Okay.
know this?
So-
Proposed development.
I
So-
actually do have pictures. They put up a giant white billboard,
Yeah,
and it says, for seawall replacement, for,
it's time to do that?
Right,
Yeah.
clean up your beach area, stuff of that nature.
Okay.
So, I do have pictures of that, and they put it up every year, too.
So if you could send that to staff so that we have a record of it, and maybe we can send them a letter from the wetlands.
That's why I
that-
emailed them,
Yep.
because he told me that too in the beginning. And that's when Commissioner Higley mentioned to find other projects that reference this type of project to see what they've done for plans, and I couldn't find any on file.
Yep.
That's where that kind of came from. So I did reach out to them, but I have not heard a response as of yet.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you could tell them FEMA.
Well, I'm thinking that maybe we should send them a certified
A letter.
letter
Okay.
saying that,
Okay.
If you do any of the seawall stuff, you need, yeah,
that-
yeah,
thank you.
thank you. Good. Okay. I think we're
That's it.
good, thank
You're
you.
good. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
thank you. So next on our agenda is the POCD, which you gave us permission to table.
I move,
Have our
I move we
information.
table that.
Second,
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
She gave us permission because she hasn't given us her notes.
Well, we haven't had a meeting.
And
Well, our meeting got canceled anyway, so.
got canceled anyways. We'll get there. We will. Okay, next on the agenda is new business, seeing none. The enforcement report we already did.
Is there anything additional? Any additional?
Yes, can you
Yeah.
make a motion to accept the enforcement report of the LaCorey map 100 Lot 3 violation?
So moved.
second,
So what do we,
Was he supposed to?
we don't usually vote on enforcement reports.
I know.
LaCorey?
No,
Yep.
we're just accepting it.
You're just accepting it this time. We already discussed it
We already
earlier.
discussed it, yeah.
No further cutting in that area unless there's an approval.
Yeah,
Aye.
yeah, okay.
Okay,
You got to vote.
Yeah, we don't have to vote on it.
Okay.
We don't vote on it.
okay,
We just review it.
okay.
Next is the report of the planning staff. It's you have an update for 43?
So I have two reports before we get into the applications. I just
Yeah.
wanted to give you an update on the person who appeared before us on November 3rd, Christian Navarro for 43 Lake Drive. We did get a phone call from the state asking about the situation in the project, and Deep confirmed that we have no jurisdiction as there are no wetlands on site. And that's it.
Okay,
Moving on.
moving on. Did you have another report?
No.
Okay, then next is the 2017 Inland Wetland and Watercourse Agency application revision discussion.
So as you may know, we recently updated to an online format for applications. We still require the paper application as well for the file. However, our applications are a little bit outdated, and I would like to update them to 2022. So I've highlighted stuff in green, and I'll go over it if you guys. This is completely up to you. Please feel free to make corrections, adjustments as you see fit. So the top part says view permit. That was our old online system. It needs to be changed to viewpoint cloud number. Then I have down below it says property address should be changed to project address because
You crossed off the
just ignore that. That's my
you
fault.
put it on there,
Yeah, I
crossed
figured
out.
it would probably be useful
regulation
to keep
section?
that. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Even though we don't usually fill it in, I would like to start using it again.
Okay,
And then the next part was to change property to project because it would make more sense.
yeah.
Wouldn't we also need we are at the applicant's address and stuff?
Yes,
Okay.
which is also why I wanted to change it to
Yeah.
project, because when the applicant fills out the application online, they have a online account, and the account is automatically tagged to their property unless they change it with the project.
Okay.
So as for the summary description, it needs to be noted that the summary description is not the narrative, and that we require a separate additional document for the narrative. And I've included that in the checklist too at the back of the application. So at the bottom, does the applicant own the property? Staff is not sure why we require deeds for applications, and we're still trying to figure that out. So that's on hold.
I can answer that for
Okay.
you. Somebody came in that was renting property and they wanted to
Okay.
do something, and they did not have the owner's permission, and the owner came into the office irate.
So would you like to keep that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
we will keep it.
Yeah, because we had a couple where the person doesn't own the property.
Okay.
Somebody else
That
does.
yep, totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. Moving on to page 2, project information. On Viewpoint Cloud, we ask for project cost. Do you guys need to know the project cost? Okay,
No.
so I will
Only
take
if
that.
We don't really do anything.
It would need to be on the application if we're going to require a bond, though. Wouldn't that be appropriate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so then in that case, I can add it onto the paper application and keep it onto the Viewpoint Cloud application. Okay. All right, next, highlighted in green is the property from a level A or level B aquifer protection area. Enfield no longer has level B aquifer areas. We only have level A, which is the highest mapped aquifers you can get. However, this question is also repetitive and asked again on page 3.
So we're going to take it from one, remove it
Yes.
from one section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, it doesn't affect us. You know, aquifer is PZC.
Yeah, it's mostly just to tag in the Aquifer Commission if need be, that's why.
Okay.
The second thing was, does the commission need to know the length of the property frontage by street? And would you like to know the abutting streets?
It would make it easier to find when we go out
If
and
you need to look for it.
I think
don't- yeah.
I think a situation where this might come in is if they're putting in a new road.
Oh, yeah.
If they're putting in a new road, that might be important to know.
Yeah.
Okay, then we can keep it. That's why I wanted to go over it with you guys.
I don't think they need that much room,
No.
right?
All right, moving on. On page 3, area of wetlands to be impacted should be changed to disturbed. Well, technically, they should be two separate questions. We should have an area of wetlands to be impacted, and then a second question saying area of wetlands to be disturbed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good idea. Might be different than actual 1 might be different than
in the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the repetitive question is seen below. Is any portion of the project located within a public water supply, aquifer, or watershed area? Which is tied
That's
into
the
the
one you're gonna
original
get rid
question.
of?
You gonna get rid of this one?
Yeah, because it is state statute to notify the watershed
Yep.
of any projects within their area as well.
Yep.
So also why we probably don't need this question.
But does this spur us to ask if they've done that?
You can if you want. It's usually on staff to let them know.
Okay.
And then for phase 1, land records reviewed for environmental hazards. Most applications tend to skip over this question or they'll say no unless it's a major development, like for example, Noble Gas, Wenandion. Technically the question should usually be yes, but in some cases like residential properties, there'll be no. So then would you like to keep the question on the application or remove it?
I think we should keep it.
Okay. Because I can also, it's on the Viewpoint Cloud application. We can always take it off the paper application and keep it on the online application, but I would like them to match.
It'd be good if they match.
Okay. All right.
Because then if somebody doesn't have access and they do a paper one.
Yep. So we're always, every time I get a wetlands application, just automatically I'll review it for environmental hazards.
Right.
So I had on a little note here is that, that we review the records for previous permits.
Yes,
And if there is any, then we want to see them.
yeah.
So maybe put a question saying,
We used to get that
yeah.
from staff.
So a separate question, can you just repeat that one more time? I'm going to write it down.
Has the property been received previous permits?
Okay. Have they-
And then if yes, if we could get a
From
copy.
this agency.
Right.
Right, yeah.
Could we get a copy
Yeah,
of it?
just from
Yeah.
this agency.
And that's just for approvals or approvals and denials?
Both.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's important because sometimes, if they had a.
So previous
Came
Some take
before, a
it
few
back.
years
Yeah.
before, and then they come back for something else. There may have been conditions on the first one
Yep.
that we need to know about for the second one.
So previous approvals and denials for the same project
Property.
location?
Correct.
Yeah.
I can't write anymore.
Remember that no mow zone?
Yes.
Oh, and then on the last page, we came up with an additional question to ask at the bottom. What prudent and feasible alternatives have you considered? Please describe.
I like that
Yeah,
one.
it's a good
Never
one.
would have thought of it, and it's a great question.
Yeah.
And then I highlighted the complete and submit the State of Connecticut Inland Wetlands Watercourse Activity Reporting Form. So the applicants are allowed to do these themselves. However, when I reviewed them, they're usually a little bit incorrect.
Yeah.
So I always tweak them. And then I realized that since I tweak them anyways, we can just keep it the way it is. And then we don't have to change it. Moving on to the next page. We're looking into why the applications have to be notarized. There is no requirement technically about them being notarized unless you would like them to stay notarized.
You make them get them notarized?
We do for all of them.
It's a good
Well, the
idea
site,
because,
site form and stuff has to
well,
be-
the thing is,
Site plan,
if
yeah.
you do the application and you lie, there's really no,
Well, so that's where, I guess the deed and the letter of permission comes in. However, the only con to this is that, say, an applicant is ready to give me their application. If it's not notarized, then I cannot accept it. Then they would be postponed until 2 weeks from
don't you have a
now.
notary in your department?
We do, but
Yeah.
most of the time, Linda or Rick may not be available. So it really depends on when they come in.
Get Nicole, to do it.
I think she's working on it.
Okay.
But it's up to you guys. We can keep it notarized if you'd like. Okay.
Probably a good idea.
All right. Because then it
How do
just
they do
it
that if it's
kinda,
online, though?
exactly. That's kind of why we're thinking of taking it off the paper
do they do it
application.
online?
That's the only difference. This would be the only difference between online and.
Yeah, and that's
People are doing them
But-
online,
but,
so
yeah,
that's
but
not right.
She said that they still had to do a paper copy.
we do for the file,
Yeah,
which
couldn't there
we're
be
also
an
trying to fix.
Attestation, how do you say that? Attestation?
Attesting.
Testament, attesting to the, yeah,
Yeah.
which,
Okay.
that might be a question for the town attorney.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to go over it with
Yeah,
you
yeah.
guys.
I would be fine to get rid of it if
Because, well, sometimes we still get those applications where people did not fill out the paper application, and we got the online one, which was 52 South Road. And then all that stuff kind of went sideways, which is because I realized they never gave us the paper application, and that we were just going off the online application.
Right.
So there's consequences to doing one or the other
Well,
versus both.
That's the way the world.
And you gotta have it on both ways, so you either,
Yeah, but then, I mean, technically, there is a way where we can just accept the online application, but I don't think we're there yet and we're ready for that step
Right.
yet. We're still trying to figure out the kinks and the nicks between notary and deed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so maybe like at a station or,
Yeah, if there's an edit, I mean, I don't think it needs to be notarized, but
Has to be-
they have to attest to the accuracy
And we can
of
keep
the
it on. We
information.
can keep it on.
and then it'd be fine on paper or online.
And then on the checklist, all plans, including revised plans, must be submitted to the department 25 days. We'd like to change that to 15 days.
They give you time?
I was going to say, that 25 days is to your advantage. You're very busy. You're not going to have complete applications that way. It
It
wasn't your
wasn't
idea.
it was not my
Well,
recommendation.
I'd like to keep it at
21
25.
days.
Yeah, I'd like to keep it at 21 or something.
21 is fine.
21.
21. Well, it's gotta give you time to get through all the
Yeah.
different places.
Yeah.
Oh, then remember how I told you about the public water supply notification? That's what I circled.
Okay.
Okay.
And then at the bottom, I haven't.
But-
Oh, sorry.
So, no, it's okay. Checkbox number 2 is 14 copies, and number 3 is 14 copies?
Yeah,
You
so
changed that in our regulations. I didn't think we wanted 14 full-size copies.
it's only 14 because we're supposed to have 10 commissioners, and then each department gets a copy, and then there's one copy for the file.
But we said that we didn't need these huge applications, these
I
huge
didn't
site
say
plans. I thought we did. We did.
Yeah.
We said we only needed a couple of this size, and then we could have smaller ones, so the people did.
But not 8 by 11.
No, 11 by 14s or
Yeah.
something.
Then I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, so we didn't need 14 full-size for
Yeah,
the,
but they have to send those to the different,
well, they need the ones
Yeah.
for the departments.
That's kind of why
need
that would
one
kind of
for all.
complicate things.
Right.
It's better to just keep it all the same.
Yeah.
And then that way other people don't get upset. So
your office.
it makes it easier for you guys to read what's going on.
Yeah, it
Some
does.
site plans are very busy,
But then it doesn't,
and then some font is very small, as you may have noticed today.
yes,
And then
but that doesn't meet our bylaws.
Adding the project narrative.
yeah, adding the project narrative at the bottom.
Yep.
And then making sure it says detailed description. The next checklist, I had nothing to recommend. In the last page, I'll need to update the additional information where it says the planning department requires an electronic submission of all documents received in CD format or USB format. We can accept these via email, USB, or the applicant can choose to upload it to Viewpoint Cloud themselves.
Yeah, okay, that's
And that's it. So if you guys approve these changes,
Under the public hearing one?
Yes.
The first item, it says 21 days prior, not less than 21 days?
that's for abutters.
Right, but like, sometimes we said we were going to do a public hearing, we did it 2 weeks later, so it's
Yeah.
only 14.
Well, we don't have that many public hearings, and they're just different. This is for regular.
Let me get back to you on that one, okay?
I don't want to say they have to be 21 and then,
Yeah.
because we did say, let's do a public hearing, and 2 weeks later, we did the start of the public hearing. So we
Yeah.
did, so that would not match.
Oh,
Right.
you're right. Public hearing is 25.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, technically, you have 35 days to make a public hearing.
Right. But I mean, it says not less than 20, not
Yeah,
less than 20.
that one kind of skimmed my eyeballs. Let me look over that.
Yeah, so I think it, yeah.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that, because then that kind of conflicts with some things.
Do it. We did.
Yeah, you're right.
And then the last thing is at the bottom, it says version 11/2017. It would
Yeah.
say 1/2022. And then if you approve all these corrections at the next meeting, I will come back to you with an updated application. You would go over it one more time, approve the corrections, and then we're good to go.
Okay, looks nice.
Perfect. Okay.
nice work.
Yep.
Yeah,
A lot of thought went into that.
yeah. It's a good idea they both match.
Yes.
The online
Yep.
and the paper.
So it's 21 days because it has to be posted 15 days in advance.
Right,
So that's why.
okay.
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So do we want to say not less than, because
Not less than.
we did one in 14 days. So they had only 14 days to get out to the abutters, right?
She's going to check into that.
Yeah, check on it.
Just double
Just
check.
double
I'll check it.
Yeah,
I'll get back to you.
okay.
And the last thing was I already told you. Never mind. That's it. That's it.
Thank you, nice job. Next is new applications to be received. It's AAA 639, 37 Queen Street, application discussion for agent approval for the continued Phase 3 of the emergency generator replacement project, Hazardville Water Company, owner Robert Sherwood, applicant map 66, lot 334, R88 zone. And I think we had a question on this.
Yeah.
Bob?
I just had a question on it's Phase 2 or Phase 3. I have two different paperworks here, and I thought it was the removal of a diesel generator going to a propane. And on the application, it says a new diesel
Installation.
installation.
I think that one you're reading is the Phase 2 with the replacement. That was Phase 2.
It's in our packet.
Right, this approval is for Phase 3.
So
Right, so my question is, so there's one diesel still going to be part of it's going to propane, or we're just leaving the diesel? Because one of the benefits was getting rid of the diesel off of the property.
Right.
That was the purpose of it, I believe.
Yep.
So it's kind of,
that was the purpose of under Phase 2, to get rid of the diesel and replace with propane. This one here, his application is for a diesel tank to be placed.
Right, so Phase 1 and Phase 2 were removing diesel.
Correct.
Phase 3, now they're bringing one back. Is that, it says the benefits were to remove the diesel, now all of a sudden we're going back to
now
diesel.
we're adding it back, so.
That was my question.
We can clarify the reasons for going back to diesel
That would be good.
prior to any notification to you as to how we're going to move with it.
Yeah, and then just make sure the application and everything kind of agrees with each other. Yeah, yeah, this is just receiving it, so,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, it's agent approved.
yeah. Well,
Oh, no, it's not.
it's just
Sorry.
being received today.
Yes.
Okay, is there, anybody have anything else?
Nope. I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.